Good evening, everybody. Hello, hello. Happy Monday to you. My hair is doing some strange things here. Um, happy Monday, happy Monday. Good evening, Alicia, Dave, Patty. Oh my goodness, you guys are always here, and I just thank you so much. Hello. All right, so what are you saying? Things are going well. Cooling off finally. Good. Yesterday it wasn't super hot, but it was like 80 but extremely humid. We had humidity in the 90s, 90%. And it spawned a lot of storms because there was a cool front that came through. And I mean, we're in the low 70s, mid 70s today, but cooler, drier air. And spawning tornadoes all through Minnesota and really bad storms. So it's probably, I don't know if it's going to break up as it heads east or not, but hopefully. So you get very humid. Hey, Julie. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Yeah, it's a sunny day today. I mean, you can see the sunshine coming through and 90s to 100 here. Yeah. So, yeah, our humidity was just off the scale. Well, I shouldn't say off the scale. I mean, you can get to 100% humidity, but it was high. And let's put it this way, when it gets down, it was drier today, so it was like at 60% humidity. Tomorrow it's supposed to be about 49%, so it should be much better. But anyway, kind of breezy and everything. Kiri, hello. How are you? I get settled into my chair a little bit better here. Oh, you guys. So I got to tell you, Ariel at Fineth did her first live this afternoon, and it was so cute to watch her. It was really, really fun. And she's had her channel for, I don't know, 10 years or something. But and she lives in this little itty bitty tiny house. Like, we're talking, what did she say? 158 square feet or something like that. And she's lived in it for 8 years, 9 years. So anyway, hello, Nightcrawler. Hi, Brenda. Oh, thank you for watching. Hey, Stringfield Ridge. Good evening to you. Sorry it's so hot there, Kiri. Hey, Gil. Welcome to everybody. But yeah, Ariel did her first live, and I remember doing my first live as well as the rest of you who have done it, Gil and Teresa, and who else has done a live? Patty. That very first one is like, you're so nervous because it's like, what am I going to say? What am I going to do? How do we do that? Because you can't edit anything out. It's just, it's there. And if you have long 20-second pauses where you're thinking about something, it's like, oh no, you get nervous and everything. But she did great. She had, I don't know, 260, 270 people on for like an hour and a half. So she did really well. But I mentioned her because she was one of the first people who gave me a shout out and put me over my first 1,000 subscribers and got me on the path for that. And I know a lot of the ones who continue to follow me faithfully are sent from her. So it was just amazing. Here she was at 50 some thousand subscribers, and she saw mine, and I was sitting at 300 or 400 people, and she was like, gave me a shout out, and all of a sudden, bam, it was like 700 overnight new people. And I was like, what? It's called Fynyth, Fynyth. Let me see. And so she was just very, very sweet. And so I got on there, and she was like, oh, Kathy, she's like, good to see you. So anyway, it was very cute. She and her husband live in Wyoming, in the mountains in Wyoming, and um, just they're doing a great job of it. Really, really doing a great job. So, um, oh, thank you, Gil. Thank you so much for Gil. Just put up her link for her channel, and so yeah. You lost track of her. Wish I'd known she was live. Yeah, she. You might need to resubscribe or something. Or go in and just make sure that your notifications are on and stuff. Oh, Dave, thank you. Oh, I appreciate that. I hear you, Kiri. Yeah, it's I'm blessed to have some good internet here, which I'm thankful for. I don't have to fight with that anyway. Well, with my work, I need to have it because I build websites and stuff. So I need to have some good web internet, and I couldn't somewhere where I didn't have that good connection because otherwise I wouldn't be able to work in what I do. Um, so I would have to do something else, I guess. But anyway, yeah, she was. It was really good, but I just like to give her that shout out a little bit when she did so much to give me a good kickstart, and I appreciate it. But she does a lot of gardening. She has chickens and ducks and um, things. I think she said she wants to stick mostly to just the birds there because they don't have enough. There's such a short summer for like sheep or goats or anything to be able to graze. They could graze for that, but then they would have 9 months that they would have to provide hay for them and all that. And she said it's just not in the realm of possibility at this point. But anyway, so they just moved there like a year and a half ago, I think, and rebuilding their whole homestead. So it's been kind of cool to watch. Anyway, it's Monday again. Our weather here in Minnesota. So Matt and Sarah just must be so busy because they haven't been on for a while. But I know their garden is just producing like crazy, and I think work is starting to pick up for them. But our weather's been, other than yesterday, which was just really, really volatile weather. We've had pretty mild weather, some rain, mostly sun. We could use a little bit more rain here. Now, the eastern part of Minnesota got a lot of rain yesterday, but in fact, I think they had some flooding in the cities and stuff, Minneapolis, and because we had the Minnesota State Fair going on, and so things were kind of crazy there. There were some tornadoes out and about on was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday was Sunday. So anyway, I have been harvesting peas, and my beans are just about ready. I could do a first picking probably tomorrow, and so they're starting. They look great this year. They look really, really good, nice and healthy, and lots of blossoms. So even though I got planted late, they're coming along. I have a lot of tomatoes starting on the plants, but don't know how big they're going to get. It's going to be kind of dicey for those, so we'll have to see. But my lettuce is huge. I need to go out and harvest some more, and the carrots are growing well, so things are coming along. Hopefully I have another, it's August 29th. Hopefully I have another 3 or 4 weeks of growing. I don't know. I get this feeling that we might have an early winter. I don't know why. It's just kind of feeling that way. So I don't know about you guys, but you're kind of like feeling. I don't check like the Farmer's Almanac or something like that, but just you had to resubscribe. Okay. You're 10 to 12 inches below normal. Ooh, yeah, that is dry, Dave. Kiri, that is so great. I know you were just so dry all summer and you were like, we need rain, we need rain. But you've gotten it. That's so good. Um, anyway, wanted to talk a little bit about, I'm going to give my garden tip first, I think, since we're kind of talking about gardens. And people are getting dry periods and everything. A lot of times, gardeners, especially early gardeners, think that they kind of go one of two ways. One, they might overwater and just like soak it every day and it's got to water, 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 but which is way too much. You don't want to do that to your plants. But then there are some others that will just like, well, I'll put the seed in the ground and just whatever the weather does and whatever grows, that's what'll happen. Well, a lot of times you end up with dry periods like, everybody's experiencing. And, you can't count on the weather to take care of all your watering needs. So during the dry periods, just make sure that you water well. I'm not saying soak it every day unless you are at 120 degrees and you're sandy soil, then you probably do have to, soak it every day. But and then a lot of times when people see, like let's just take my beans, for example. Okay, they're producing, they're doing well, the plants are looking great, the beans are on there, so I'm picking the beans, and you're thinking, maybe subconsciously or something in the back of your mind, that it's like, oh, okay, they're already done. I don't need to water them as much. Well, nothing could be further from the truth because, especially beans, they'll keep setting blossoms and new beans and different things like that. They'll keep producing there as long as you're picking, at least for a while, 3 weeks or so. And when but when the little beans are forming, they need just as much water as they did before, because they need to fill out. Otherwise, you get little stunted, flat beans that are just nothing there. The same with anything else. With the tomatoes, with peas, with whatever you're growing, lettuce, spinach, all that kind of stuff. So the best thing is steady watering, but water right up until your final harvest. And then when you have everything off of there, that's when you stop. So because those last things are going to still need that little bit of water. So in order to get the best produce that you possibly can. Otherwise, that whole last harvest is going to be stuff that you're just going to have to throw. So you still have the driest year in history. Oh my goodness. Wow. That is dry, because Texas has a lot of dry history. You sowed seeds in your garden, trout finally. Yay. Oh, well, Patty, that is so great. Well, you've got to wait, a while before you would have any type of frost or anything. So that is great. Kiri, you've been watering a spot in your goat paddock to grow grass. Oh, nice. Mushrooms popped up. Okay. Hey, Michigan Daffodil. Last year, beans produced until frost. Wow. I know there's some years they just go crazy. It is wonderful like that. That's awesome. So anyway, my little garden tip. All right. There you see a lot of homesteaders who've got established farmsteads or homesteads or whatever, and they talk about root cellars. They talk about making sure you have that for storage. But so many of us don't have that possibility. Now I've got just kind of a storage basement. It's pretty small. I mean, it's like 7 feet by 22 feet, and it's got utility. It's got the furnace in there and my water heater and water softener and stuff. So I've got to have my shelves in there, kind of around all of that, and it's cement floor, cement walls. So it does stay cooler than the upstairs, of course, and because it's all below ground. So I do have like my jars of food down there, all my canned goods, and I would say in the summer it stays anywhere from 5 to 10 degrees cooler than up here. So it's still maybe at 55 or 60 degrees downstairs, something like that. Yes, Dave. So if you have a full basement, a lot of times it's just not that. And in the winter, the furnace is running and it puts out some heat in the basement, so it's not like it gets down to 45 degrees in the basement or anything. So it's not like ideal root cellar, but it's good for just storing my jars, and it's helped. I know it is nice to have that space, but oh, Dave, there you go. But so we think that, oh, if I don't have this nice cold root cellar, I can't store anything. It's like I'm not going to be able to store any, root vegetables. I can't store my canned goods. There's just no place for me to put the things. So I might as well not even can. I might as well not grow a garden because I just don't have a place to put them. Well, nothing could be further from the truth. So I'm going to go through a few things here, but a lot of times, it'll depend on your climate for one thing. So let me see here. So I put a number of links below. One is actually a link for the Wikipedia definition for root cellar. So I'm just going to kind of read it to you. But so a root cellar or earth cellar is a structure usually underground or partially underground used for storage of vegetables, fruits, nuts, or other foods. Its name reflects the traditional focus on root crops stored in an underground cellar, which is still often true. A wide variety of foods can be stored for weeks to months, depending on the crop and conditions. And the structure may not always be underground. Root cellaring has been vitally important in various eras and places for winter food supply. Although present-day food distribution systems and refrigeration have rendered root cellars unnecessary for many people, they remain important for those who value self-sufficiency, whether by economic necessity or by choice, and for personal satisfaction. So there's a number of different ones that you can check out. Your basement's cooler in the summer. Oh, nice. Very good. Root cellars, I know. Dynamite to blow it up. The thing is, it doesn't always have to be a hole in the ground. And that's what I want to just kind of get across today and really encourage you to just think outside the box with all this stuff. Oh, wow, Dave, that would be awesome. That would be so great to have that. A glass greenhouse connected to the south wall of your house and a root cellar below. So you grow it up there, bring it down there. Oh, that would be so great. There's a few channels. I'm going to type their names in here. And maybe a couple of the mods would want to get their links. I didn't have those. And there are certainly others. But anyway, these are ones that I could just think of off the top of my head that have Little Mountain Ranch bought a farm that has an old root cellar, and it's built into a hillside underground. Gridlessness and American Homestead actually built their own. So they have different types of things. They're in different climates. Gridlessness is in British Columbia and like northern BC. Little Mountain Ranch is also in BC, but American Homestead, I believe, is in, I want to say Tennessee, I think. Tennessee or Missouri, somewhere around there. Thanks, Alicia. So anyway, they've got like the more traditional looking root cellars that you walk in type of thing, or that with dirt walls or concrete walls, so different things like that. So, they have like the really big thing, but it takes a lot of work and things. But I'm going to go through some alternatives here, some different things you can do. First of all, I want to explain that root cellars are not always the place that you want to be putting all of your things in there. They really are the perfect place to store raw, fresh produce. We're talking carrots, potatoes, turnips, cabbage, all those kind of things that are, especially the root vegetables, the ones that grow underground, the carrots, the potatoes, the turnips, the, parsnips, the, um, even fennel or what is the other one I'm thinking of? Um, you know, but leeks and onions and just different things like that. Well, onions maybe, I don't know. It might be too moist in there, but um, anyway, it said that you should not um, store any canned food in there, and I would even go so far as probably like longer term jars with the metal lids that you can up. Um, if you're going to be eating them within the 6 to 12 months or something, it would be fine. But if you're going to leave them there for a couple years, you wouldn't want to do that because, and then any like commercially canned food, the tin cans from the store, because those will rust because a root cellar has a lot of moisture in it. And thank you guys, you're on top of it. Michigan Daffodil wanted to try to. Oh, yes, Alicia, that's right. Yep. Um, you might want to refresh unless, oh, it's better for now? Okay. Yeah, I might want to refresh. So I'm looking right now at this book I have, The Lost Ways. Um, I, they're hard to find now. I got this for like $20, a few years back, and I showed it to you before, but it's got a whole thing on different storage and how to prepare your vegetables for storage and different things like that. So there's a lot of other books out there. There's a lot online. So I'm going to kind of go through some things that you could do to store these root vegetables, your fresh veggies. Now, when you want to store your canned goods, you can store them anywhere in the house. You just don't want to store them like next to a heat source or a room that's going to get hot. Your jars of food that you've canned up, because you don't want to put them like next to a fireplace or your furnace or a south facing room that gets a lot of heat, things like that. Oh, okay, that's a good one, Patty. Yes, Amazon has a lot of books on root cellars. So you have redneck Wi-Fi set up. Oh, I get it. So, um, anyway, if there's things that you miss, Michigan Daffodil, maybe you'd have to go back and look at the replay. I don't know. That might help, um, as opposed to trying to catch it live. So there is, in all of these things I'm going to talk about are on the other links that I put below as reference, and they've got pictures and explanations and how to build all of these things and what to do. But so anyway, back to your canned goods, your jars. You can store them in cupboards. You can put them on shelves in your kitchen, put them in your basement if you can, if you have one. Put them in boxes under your bed. There's just all kinds of things you can do with your canned goods as well as your dehydrated food and all of that. But anyway, so if there are ways that you are growing all of this fresh food, like I said, cabbages and your root vegetables and everything, You don't want to can them. You want to store them to be able to have them to eat fresh as long as you possibly can, whether it's another 3 months or if you can go up to 6 months or something. Um, yeah, and those are good too. So the one of the things you could do is, there are many, and it's not on this list here, but if you have um, like a north, a closet or a small room or even part of a room that's on the north side of your house, which is not getting direct sunlight, and in the winter it can be cool. If you can even block off part of that closet or part of the room or something, and even if it's, you know, you just build it up 3 feet and just put it like a box thing around it, but put it up against the outside wall, um, and insulate it well. And you're going to find out that that's going to stay so much cooler than the rest of the room or the rest of the house or something. And, you can just store your things under there and try to different things depending on what you are, what your situation is. So, tip: living in earthquake zones, a lip on the shelving is recommended. Yep, absolutely. Okay, Michigan daffodil. Yeah. And that's one thing that you find out, it's like you've done it and it's like you open up that jar to eat it and you're going, not sure I like canned carrots. So I hear you. I have been able to, my carrots, I generally will, I will wash them good, cut off the greens and everything, and put them in, keep them a little bit moist, after rinsing them off, make sure that they're good and clean. Um, put them in gallon Ziploc freezer bags and everything, and then I'll put them in the bottom of my crisper drawers. They will last me 8 to 10 months. Before they start getting rubbery or hairy or anything like that. So, um, hey, Vani, hello, how are you doing? Um, so, yeah, so that's what I'm able to do with my carrots because I don't have any type of cold root cellar storage or anything like that. I do have the I could possibly, I mean, if I wanted to spend $10,000 and have somebody come in and dig a hole off my basement and do all that and build it up, or I'd probably have to spend more. I don't know. I could probably put something in, but I'm not going to do that. It's not worth it for me for the little bit that I need. Fermented carrots. Yep, that's another way to keep them lasting longer. Absolutely. Um, but these ideas I'm going to give you, and again, it's going to depend on your climate, depend on your soil, depend, your whole environment and everything. But just some ideas that you could think about and check into if this is something you really want to do. So the first one is a trash can root cellar. So hey, Drops, how are you? Michigan daffodil, that's kind of very close to what I'm going to be talking about. So Drops, you leave your carrots in the ground, put biomass over them, dig them up. Yeah, 5B, you can do that. My 3B, I really can't. And last year, I did not take my carrots out, and I went to work the soil this summer, and they were all gone. I have a feeling a gopher got them, but there was no sign of them at all. Okay, a trash can root cellar. So what you need is a metal trash can with a lid and a waterproof cover like a tarp, and then some straw and a shovel. So very, very cheap to do. A trash can costs you $15 or something. And then you just dig the hole for it, and you bury the trash can, and you can fill it up with your root vegetables, put the lid back on, cover it with the tarp, so to keep any dirt or rain or anything like that off of it, and then cover it with straw. You would want to dig a moat or a ditch around the outside to keep it from to keep any runoff from filling in around the can. So but you don't want to just like helter skelter throw everything in there, all the raws together. So what I would do is bag the vegetables separately, like put the potatoes in one bag and then put them in the can, and then have carrots in another one and put them in there, and turnips in another one, put them all in there. But you sinking it down into the ground. Now, Kiri, I know you've got rock. You wouldn't be able to do that. Anybody in the deep south whose groundwater is, or who it's right up to the top, that's very saturated, you get a good rain, it would probably pop that right up out of the ground. So yes, exactly, Patty. You know how high your water table is. So hey, how are you doing? Verna Flower Farm. Uh, you have been doing beautifully. You really have. So, everybody check out Verna Flower Farm. Uh, she used to live out near me, and I'm probably going to mess this up. It's Eliza, right? And but anyway, they moved up north closer to Duluth, and she's got a new farm, and it's got a flower business going now, growing flowers, and they're beautiful. They're beautiful, beautiful. So yes, and she's on Instagram, and so you guys check her out too. You keep finding 2 chicken eggs in your metal trash can. You keep the chicken. Somebody's been getting in there. Oh my goodness. Um, So the trash can root cellar is perfect for storing root vegetables. And anyway, you just cover it with the tarp and the lid, top it off with a straw, and you can do that. And then when you want something, you just remove that, go out and do that. Go out and get stuff. If it were in, I don't know that my climate could take that, because our frost level it can go anywhere from 3 to 9 feet, depending on how cold the winter is and how much of a snow cover we have. If we get a lot of snow early in the season and it doesn't melt or go away all winter, then our permafrost is not very deep, because it didn't have a chance to freeze up real solid before you get all the snow. So the snow is like an insulator there. So but there's no way to know ahead of time that that's going to happen, right? So, hey, Linda Murphy, how are you? So, that, I would say that would be great for, kind of the mid states across the United States, in that way. But anyway, all right. So in that link, it shows you how to make that a trash can root cellar. Another one you could do that's very, very easy and very cheap is taking a 5-gallon bucket. It's got a lid, and then you just dig again a hole in the earth, and put the bucket in there, add the lid. Oh, you want to drill a few holes in the lid though, so it can have some way to air out and everything. So put the lid on it for extra protection. You can, again, if you wanted to, put a tarp over it, put a bale of straw and everything. But that one would be good for potatoes, onions, and other root vegetables. It's very simple. Just stick it in the ground. If you want to dig a trench, you could have, 4 different 5-gallon buckets in the ground, and have one for potatoes, one for carrots, one for turnips, or different things like that, or onions, whatever you want to do. Yep. You can use a cooler too. Absolutely. So, another way is, this one is quite a bit more difficult. And it's got its challenges, but you could bury like an old freezer chest freezer, a deep freeze, or a refrigerator. And just, I would put the refrigerator like on its side or something. But the biggest thing is you have to make sure that there's no Freon left in that freezer or refrigerator. Um, so if you're just recycling an old one that it's not good for anything else anymore, you still have to have like, a backhoe or something to dig. Otherwise, I mean, or you could dig it by hand, I guess. It's going to take you a while. But typing while working in the kitchen. Oh, okay. Thank you for being near the Twin Cities. With the trash can cellar work here? It might, Linda. If you can put enough, I would probably put more hay around the perimeter of the trash can, as well as just on top of it to help to keep that from freezing up. But it's worth a try. Hey, Heirloom Permaculture. That's right, how the kids dig it out. There you go. They go, Daddy, what are we digging? It's like, here, it's your, I'm going to put you in a coffin in there. It's like, you have a fridge that died way too early. You now store nails, screws. They're great for storage. Absolutely. Definitely. So, Patty, what did you say? It would have been terrible. You just stored things in the garage which never froze in bins. Yep. And so your climate allows that. I mean, here, anything that is outside it, even in a shed or garage or anything, it's going to freeze solid. It's so, yeah, you got mild winters there, so you just don't heat a room. Oh, that is nice, Drops. There you go. Very, very good. So yeah, so you can bury the old freezer, fill it in with dirt around the edges and everything, and then just use that. Put your bags of vegetables in there and everything. So another one, it takes a little bit more work, but it can be pretty cheap. It's called a pallet root cellar. So the link below will have like how to make it, and it gives like descriptions and everything like that. But you dig a square hole, kind of the size of what a pallet would be. So if a pallet is, let's say 3x5 or something feet, so you would dig it that way, and then you would put a big plastic sheeting or something in the hole, cover the bottom and all the sides, and then you put the pallet on the bottom, and then you start putting other pallets on the side, and then connect them with 2x4s. So you have basically a pallet box by the time you get done. Then you take the plastic that's draping off of that and then fold it back over the pallet in there, so that it's basically plastic lined, but then you've got the pallet structure with that. And then you can store things under there. You can build a lid over it, with a pallet lid with a hinge, lift it off like that. And then again, cover it with bales of hay or something. So, well, John, thank you so much. You got to run literally. Okay. I appreciate you stopping in. That was very sweet of you. You take care. Have a great week. So, that's, again, more work and effort, but it can create a little bit bigger space without having to, have all of the extra expense to it, because it's really free pallets and then a big plastic sheet, which would be like $10. So, and it's just your work then. Then the other one would be to make a cold storage room in your basement, which, again, we've talked. Yeah, it is a clever way to build it. Again, it would depend on what your house is, and if you have the ability for that. Again, that would be very expensive, and it would depend on what supplies you already own. Like, just thinking of Dave, you wanted to put something in there. Oh, you want to do the greenhouse over the roof. I think that's just like awesome. I think that'd be so great. But if you wanted to take a corner of your basement and build a cold storage room, you could certainly do that. You have to have ventilation. You'd have to have, all that kind of stuff. And it's very possible. There's a lot of different plans out there for how to build these cold storages, all that kind of stuff. But, do the research if that's something that you're able to do and want to do. That's something. But again, check that out. Oh, another Elliot, I think this is their channel name. They have a really, really cool, they've got an old house too in, it's either Oregon or Washington. I can't remember which one, but they have like several different rooms they were already part of the house. They didn't have to build into it as far as I remember. But it's like the room that is furthest in underground is the coldest room, and that's where they put like all of the things that they need to keep really, really cold. And then they've got a middle room and then an outer room, kind of, for the outer room would be more for their canned goods and stuff like that. The middle one would be for like all their root vegetables and different things. And then the other one is for, I don't remember. It's been so long since I've watched that part. But yeah, crawl space. Absolutely, you could use a crawl space. If a stick house with no basement, just stick the garbage can under the skirting. You could do that. Again, depends on your climate. Hey, Chrissy. I'd be concerned about keeping rodents out. Yeah, that's where you've got to have it really, you don't want just a plastic thing. That's where I'd be concerned more about, the 5-gallon buckets, because you could still have, rodents and gophers and everything chew through that. But if metal buckets would be really good too. Ducks love it under your house. It's good shade. They would celebrate under there. Oh my goodness. But yeah, again, then, if you've got good shading, it stays much cooler than the rest of the areas. And now, obviously, if you have to store things outside in the summer, and summers are 90s and hundreds, degrees, then it's things aren't going to last. But if you're able to wait and harvest when things cool down, and then have them through the winter, this is really just to have fresh food through the winter. And then, as you're storing things and as you're getting through the winter, say it's January, February, and things are starting to look a little weird with the food and it's starting to get soft or something, take it and do something else with it. Dehydrate it or can it up, or, do something else with the food. But, if you can store it really well, that'd be great. Another thing, that if you need something that's going to be just a scenario here, grid down, you've got somebody who's diabetic in your family and you need to keep that insulin cold because that's what the medication needs. You have to refrigerate it all the time. And what if the refrigeration is out, whether by winter storm, ice storm, or hurricane or something? I mean, you think of all of the things that have been out for people over the last decade, and it's like, what do people do who rely on their insulin to be kept cold? Things like that. And it's like, what can you do for that? That interim, just to keep medicine cold. It's like you're not even caring about the food, but you just need to keep medicine cold. They have something called a Zeer pot, Zeer. And what you do is you get a large clay pot, like a garden pot, and a smaller one that has a lid on it. And it can be something like a fry pan lid or something like that, but something that would cover it and kind of seal it really well. And it's really easy. It's really cheap. So what you do is you take the big pot, you put a layer of damp sand in the bottom of it. And then you put the smaller pot inside. Now you want the small pot to be about an eighth of an inch higher than the big pot. So the rim is just a little bit higher than the other one. So, put the amount of sand in there at the bottom that you need that. Oh, and the holes that are in the bottom of them, duct tape them so the sand doesn't fall through. So then you've got the little pot inside the big one. Then pack sand around on it, and then pack it in really, really tight, and then pour water through it, and just kind of keep going around until it's saturated. You don't want it to get so full of water that it's running over, but you want it good and wet. And then you put the lid on the inside pot. So what this can do is that will keep things, 10 to 20 degrees cooler inside that inner pot than it would out in whatever's outside. So if you had that pot and then put it, in a root cellar, or you put it into, you could put that underground if you needed to, or put, in underneath your mobile home, put it in the shade or something. It's not going to keep things for 2 or 3 months, but it can keep things like medicine cool enough up to a month. And so it can, and it's amazing that wet sand, and you have to keep watering it too, almost every day. Although if you have it down in the ground, it should stay pretty damp very easily. But anyway, there's something about the pot inside with the wet sand around it with the other pot that keeps that temperature very, very cool. And that's something that they've done for thousands of years, really. So I got to get caught up on the chat here. Sorry, guys. Your Russian neighbors stored cabbages, carrots, and more in their shed. Okay. You have 2 doors for your entrance with a closet. The buffet is open. Instead of a garbage can in the ground, maybe just set it up in the garage, maybe add a little insulation. You could certainly do that. Yeah, you could even make, get like the 2-inch thick foam, make a box or something, and then put that can in there. It's worth experimenting, and seeing how well things do and how long it will last. And it's always worth a try. The potatoes are very small this year. You learned dehydrated canned beet slices and dehydrated canned pickle beets are good. Okay, nice. It's 50-pound bags. Oh, you guys are talking potatoes here. Okay. Yeah, we're getting into potato harvest time. We have lots of fields of potatoes around here. And so you can always tell when they start running, because it's like morning and night, the trucks are going by and full of potatoes. And then they're full of sweet beets, not beets, sugar beets. There we go. They're full of sugar beets. So we've got sugar beet fields and potato fields, as well as corn and beans and, wheat and oats and stuff like that. But I bet they do. I bet they do in Idaho. Yeah, really good deals. Okay, so so that's a Zir pot, which is kind of cool, and it's also for those of you with kids. It's a great way to teach some science to your kids and how to store things. And but you can also, other than medicine, you can put a few fruits and vegetables in there. Let's say you there's a great deal on something at the store, and you buy them, and it's like you don't have enough room in the refrigerator. Put them in a Zir pot, and then keep it stored, and they will extend the life of your fruits and veggies. Okay, another one that's very, very expensive and time consuming and everything is, and I won't spend much time on it, but it's to build a spring house. And that's if you have a running water on your property, and especially if there's like a bank in the, a little hillside or something, you can just dig into that and then use, the rock around you or whatever. But anyway, the idea is to divert some of that running water in under your building that you have, because you build it into the hillside. It can be concrete block, it can be stone, whatever, but divert some of that water in there, because that water stays cool, right? Because it's coming from springs or from somewhere else. But divert it in and then back out, so that you've got that water that's keeping things cool in there. And then you can have a door in there and access. And so, all right, Gil, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it. Gonna untangle a dog. Oh, that's hard. Yeah, and so if you need the spring water, if there's a way that you need to even store some water or something, get it from there and do that. Um, so anyway, that it's a very extensive build and everything, but that's something that you can check out if that's an interest. You could make a storage clamp, they call it. It's a very old way of storing potatoes and root vegetables. It's very, very easy. You just find some level ground, cover it with straw, put your veggies on top of it, then add more straw. And that's it. Again, depending on your climate. I don't know that that would work in the 100-degree heat in Texas right now. I wouldn't work for storing long term here in the north. But also, I keep thinking it's like that's such easy access for varmints too. So it's like, I don't know. um, but the other way to do it is another different way of a clamp is to dig a hole that's below your frost level, about 1 square yard. Make a bed of straw at the bottom of the hole. Layer your produce, like your potatoes and other root vegetables, then cover with more straw, then top with plastic soil or a heavy wood cover. So that would be a little bit more doable, I think. But I still, for myself, would prefer to have it in a metal can where gophers can't get in there and eat it, and stuff like that. It's like they're not just critters running around on top of the earth. They're the ones that dig around. So, hey, Nightcrawler, when big straw is insulation. Yep. Oh, that's good to know. Drops, so it gets below 30. Um, and then using your garage or outbuilding, we've kind of talked about that a little bit. Um, that can be like a seasonal cellar for your root vegetable. If you can, put some insulation in a dark thing, you could use old coolers. I know, I think Patty mentioned that before. It's like, yeah, if you have old um, chest coolers, different things like that you want to store some things in, you can put those in there and keep that in there. Again, with any of these, you want to be going into them regularly to check on them. So if things are starting to rot, you want to get the rotted ones out of there so it doesn't rot everything. And because that's really kind of an important thing. Another one is you can use your attic. If you have an attic and you live somewhere with cold winters, you can often use that as the seasonal cellar. So just, double up on the insulation and keep it in cardboard boxes or old coolers or something like that. Then food storage shelves, you can do that, storing them in cardboard boxes. And then in any of these boxes, root vegetables, you can store them in wet sand, and different things. So keeping them, just because the sand will somehow insulate it. Another one that's fairly extreme is getting a cargo container and, partially burying that, surround it with bales of insulation. But again, you have to have ventilation for humidity and temperature control and everything. Wanted to read a portion here of Laura Ingalls Wilder's the very first book, Little House in the Big Woods, and she talks about their harvest and different things. So the said the potatoes and carrots and the beets and turnips and cabbages were gathered and stored in the cellar, for freezing nights had come. Onions were made into long ropes, braided together by their tops, and then were hung in the attic beside wreaths of red peppers strung on threads. So here they were using their attic. And back then, they didn't have insulation and all this other kind of stuff. So it was just a regular log home, but in their attic. The pumpkins and squashes were piled in orange and yellow and green heaps in the attic's corner. The barrels of salted fish were in the pantry, and yellow cheeses were stacked on the pantry shelves. So, anyways, just a little clip there about, the things that they used their attic. There, it wasn't insulated, wasn't everything, but it was like the final harvest. Now, that was in Wisconsin that they lived in. So it got very, very cold there too, just like Minnesota. And so they, I'm amazed that their squash and pumpkins and everything made it through their winters, but it did. So apparently their wood heat provided enough to balance out in their house. So, oh, thanks, Michigan Daffodil. I appreciate that very much. So anyway, if you guys are interested in looking at any of those things and how-tos, the links below have the detailed information and everything like that. So, yeah, it's just fun. I mean, it's like, yes, they're juvenile books, they're for kids and everything, but tell you what, as homesteaders, we can learn so much from that, because she describes all the things they did in the 1800s to grow and to preserve their food and to cook it and how to survive out there. They didn't have, refrigerators and all that kind of stuff. So my prep tip for tonight is to create a storage space for your food if you're able to. So at least plan something. And then once it's a plan, take action on it. Don't just let it be a note on the refrigerator. It's like, oh, someday we should do this, but actually do it. Thank you, Patty. That's very, very sweet. I appreciate that. Yeah, I know. There's, they recently drilled an opening to our attic, just need a ladder. Oh, there you go. So again, even if you put stuff in coolers and out there, and and these aren't necessarily even things that you have to grow. If you go to a farmer's market or the store has, like I said, a sale on potatoes, all of a sudden when potato harvest is coming, it's like you can get 20 pounds of potatoes for $5 or something crazy like that. It's like, what do I do with all that? But find ways to store them. And thank you, Alicia. Appreciate that. Yeah, because there are a lot of things that we can't always grow, and again, just finding ways to keep some food fresh for fresh eating throughout the winter months. And you're welcome, Drops. I appreciate you coming. So, guys, you just have a great week. Next Monday is Labor Day, as far as I know. I will be live, but if for some reason I have a family thing and I have to be gone, I will put a notice on my community page. But as far as I know, I will be live. So you guys, you just take care. Have a great week. Winter, attic winter only. Yep. Oh, absolutely. Thank you for clarifying that, Michigan Daffodil. Yes. By spring, you would want to have that cleared out, or at least by late May or something. So yes, take care. God bless. Always have hope. And we will see you later. You guys take care.